right. All right.
What's up? What's up?
What's happening, everybody?
Hey, what is up with you in a box?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Am I in the box?
Yeah, you were in a box on the intro, but welcome.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Brooks made that one today. I didn't even. That was the first time I saw it. This podcast is taking a life of its own. I'd say it's almost like I'm just a guest on this thing now.
We all are. It's taking a life of its own. So we have two guests, Sasha and Sean with Mr. Router.
Yeah.
CMM.
Yes, sir, Mr. Router.
Mr. Router. Is that going to be his new nickname from now on, Mr. Router?
I think we just officially coined him as Mr. Router in industry tonight. It went down.
That's better than the stuff we normally call him.
Absolutely. And look at Sasha is still at
the fence show. Yeah, that's.
You know that all your friends left and went back home, right?
Yep.
I've told them before they're charging me by the day for that expo hall. Yeah, he's got to get out.
Storing our booth. It's still back there behind him. See it back there? Mr. Fence Stores is still there.
Hey, Sean, do you remember that blue? All that blue. I don't know what that stuff was for. Some of your display was like it was powder coated blue. Some pieces of metal was like 10, 12 feet long.
Yeah, what happened to it?
It's now been modified. It's been bolted to one of our trailers. That's how we haul our gates now. I think I got some pictures I'll post. It's like the back of our. It's kind of like how the glass companies haul their stuff with padding on it. It's now one of those.
So our fence display is now famous in Las Vegas, towing around Las Vegas gates. That's
got a 32 foot gate sitting against it right now.
That's
out in the yard.
Yeah. Good job, Ryan.
So what's going on, man? I heard you're tearing up some CMM machines.
Yeah. So I think last night at like 9 o'clock at night. So this was not even during normal operating hours. So nobody saw what was going down. My brother in there, top secret mission. We learned that so an 8x8 vinyl fence post. Have you ever seen one? It doesn't fit in the router very well. Like
no.
But we had to get this job done today. We had a consumer that requested 8-inch by 8-inch posts. Didn't even know they make them, but they did. But listen, they wanted these posts so big because they went over top of 5-inch steel round schedule 40 full weight pipe filled with concrete, 6 feet deep, 6 feet out of ground, vinyl post over that. They didn't want the fence to go over on 6-foot centers. So I'm thinking this is easy. It doesn't fit it fits in the bay barely. Right. You got to bring it in the rear end. You can't go from the front end.
Right.
Yeah.
And the router head hits it. So we had to take the whole router apart, like lift the whole mechanism up, like temporarily. There was some duct tape involved and some things to hold it. But look, like mission accomplished. The job is finished today. They love it. I'll get to a live video here soon to share it with everybody. What a monster fence, 5 to 6 foot on centers, 8x8 posts over steel. But I can tell everyone out there right now that's wondering about buying a CMM. I wonder if it'll route an 8x8 post. I know it will.
It did it, man.
Is that true? Yeah. So are your machines designed for 8x8s? What's the max normally?
No.
But what's the max? What is it normally? What is the biggest it normally handles? 6?
7s is the biggest I've seen. I mean, 6 is pretty standard, but I've never seen 8s. Man,
I don't know, man. It's
kind of like Top Gun, but they're like inverted. We were inverted. You got a picture? It's
that's awesome.
I refuse to get the router. I still use a chisel that I heat up, and I use a hammer and a chisel, and I make all my own holes for the rails.
You probably still weld vinyl together.
Yeah, so I've only done one vinyl job. And
that makes sense. Okay,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the chisel technique. Yeah,
the rails are a little loose. Hey, actually, you'd be amazed how many people out there don't know what we're talking about about the routers and have never seen a routing machine, don't even understand how that works. Wow. A lot of us, including myself at Las Vegas Fence, we just call up our distributors, local distributors, and say, hey, I want to get some posts that are already routed with the holes and for the rails. Sean, tell us what's going on here.
So
this is one of your machines.
This is our newest creation. So this one, you'll see right now. So it takes the material from a cart. It suction cups the material over to a conveyor system. The conveyor shoots it into the machine for you. It'll route it. So right now it's routing it, and then it will take it to get stacked here in a second, and then it will stack itself so that it's ready to load.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
Whoa.
So
What was that? What did it just flip
it
it?
automatically flipped it?
It flipped it. Yep. So those are routers and flippers. So it can do all 4 sides if it has to.
If this machine will do 8-inch posts, I'm buying one tomorrow.
Those are not 8s, but yeah. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so here
It
it's
spits
coming
them out.
off. Yep, and now it's gonna suction cup them over and stack them.
That's
Wow.
awesome. I love the carts.
We just came out with this probably in the last 2 months, and we've already sold 4 of them. So we're ending the year really strong.
Are these things like $250,000? What kind of money are we talking about for that?
Yeah, so these are like in the 2 to 250 range.
Yep, I would figure. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Good guess on that.
Yep,
one, Sean.
good guess, man.
You sound like a man that's bought some equipment in your life.
Well, I haven't
Yeah,
bought
this
this
guy's
piece.
bought a few machines before.
I'm just referencing all the machines I've already purchased. They don't do half of this, a third of this,
Yeah,
a quarter of it.
Look what Evan said. Slicker than a snot on a doorknob, and you got that right.
Evan, you're the man. Yeah.
Remind me not to touch no doorknobs when I'm visiting him. But
Story. Take some hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
so, Sean, give us an overview. What's going on in the episode?
This episode, we're going to talk about something I know very little about. Like when someone asks me about automating gates, I'm like, oh yeah, you can automate a gate. Well, what about a walk gate? What? No, you can't have walk gates automated. It can be nowhere near an automated gate. You got to be way over there because people might get hurt and crushed.
Yep.
But
We've
we're
been
going to talk
told.
about that tonight.
Well, I think we've been told because we live in this world of vehicle gates and fence and
That's
so
right. Vehicle gates.
when someone says, "Hey, I want to put an operator on a pedestrian gate," we normally go, "Well, you can't do that because we just told you can't do that. It's just not possible. You
And
can't."
I'm the guy that would normally say that.
The operators aren't built for that, and I found it really interesting that the more and more I dug into it myself, that there's a difference between normal gate operators that we would use for vehicles and low energy gate operators and things like that. So
or ADA compliant gate. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when you walked it through with me. I'm like, oh yeah, the automatic doors at the hospitals and supermarkets.
yeah,
That's pedestrian gates, is
So
it not? Doors?
so we'll be talking about that in the episode for sure, and then we're going to be getting into distributorship models and how that's changing and what's been going on in the industry, even in the last couple of years. And we got Sasha here, someone who's been on pretty much every side of it you could imagine, and is still thick and deep in the heat of it. So we're going to be kind of
still stuck at the fence show.
I know, right? He can't get out of it.
I'm like, where is everyone? I'm still here.
Yeah, and
Where
we're
did
going
fence go?
Yeah,
Nope.
so that's gonna be kind of cool. So we're gonna discuss that. It's gonna be a jam-packed episode. We got a special guest coming on, Jim from Lockenox, which is to discuss one of their new units that they got that is, I guess, it's just killing the market out there in Europe and is starting to get over in the U.S. So that'll be exciting. Other than that, man, I think we should just start get this thing going. There's just
Let's do it.
there's one thing that I think everybody always wants to know, though.
What would Brian and Sean say?
I do better than that, man.
Okay,
Oh, this is all you right now. I can tell you right now, 100%. This is all you.
look at me. Get all
Holy cow.
I can't read that. My eyes aren't that good, but look at me get all excited when I see that chain link fence. I do love me some chain link fence. Jason McMillan says, has anyone ran into this on a spec for a temp fence? Oh, this might even for Sasha as well. Is it the normal do build it out on stands instead of panels? Is it normal to build it out on stands instead of panels?
Yeah, so I think Brian, if I can answer this one, just because we do temp
Please.
fencing. I think the old school adage you would drive posts in the ground, and there's two styles. There's temp fencing, like being a chain link guy, where they'd use 2.5 gauge 2-inch or 11.5 gauge 2-inch, and they just run it.
Yeah,
And it's temporary. And then the panels came along, and they still would drive the posts in the ground, clamp them. But today, everybody's pretty much moved to the stands. So it's, you put the stands on the ground. There's weights. We have weights that we sell as well, or sandbags, and it's very like you can just move it around. So yes, these days more than not, everybody's sort of moved towards stands. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the rebel here because I don't do as much chain link as either one of you. We do some temp fence. We don't drive post and we don't use stands anymore. No weights. All we do is we do a weave. So 15 degrees. I tell the consumer they got to buy 10% more fence. We go in 2 feet, out 2 feet, in 2 feet, out 2 feet, in 2 feet, out 2 feet.
Yep.
You can't push the fence over.
Oh,
It's
yeah, yeah.
unbelievable
Yep.
how strong it is. No stands, no weight. We're not hauling that shit out there.
Yeah.
No replacing sandbags. No wind can blow it over. It's kind of crazy, but that was just us trying. I didn't have bags, right? And I like, well, geometry, I can do this, and it
Right.
freaking worked. And now we haven't looked back.
Yeah,
Does
and
anyone
I
else-
agree. We stagger them sometimes. We'll even out here we get wind, and we do a lot of temporary panels out here. And we'll actually sometimes go every so often and just take a panel completely at 90 degrees,
Yep.
or and sometimes that takes less panels than the staggering. But I what Sasha was saying too was in the beginning, yeah, we drove all the posts in the ground, and a lot of times it was T posts or whatever anything we could get, right, 1 5/8, whatever it was. We drive them in, and then we just stretch the wire and no tension wire or nothing. And then it went to driving the posts, but every panel. Do you remember when the panels had the round?
Yes,
It was like 2 3/8. It was like 2 3/8 welded to the end of every panel, and those would overlap, and you'd drive a post through those.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep,
And
yep.
that would drive straight through, and that was actually pretty secure if you remember that. Then it went to temporary panels, stands where it has the the pieces of 1 inch or whatever it happens to be coming up, and then you use a clamp on each one. So it's actually evolved more than people think. Now we've got, and then we had people that were tripping and suing. A couple of people got sued locally because of the stands with the so then everybody went to like colored sandbags, and then we went from colored sandbags to where now they've got stands where you've got those heavy kind of like flat flanges, weighted flanges that go over the stands. So it's amazing how much temporary panels have changed in the last 10 years. Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So to answer your question, yeah, great question. Let's see what the next one is here. Susan, by the way, if anybody's watching this, we don't get to see these questions before they come out. Susan pulls these from Fence Industry Only group, which is one of our groups on Facebook. So if you're not a member of Fence Industry Only on Facebook, go to Facebook, type in Fence Industry Only, and you'll find it. Sean, you have another great group over there. Fence tool. What is it? Tips, tools, tricks. I never.
Professional pro fence tips, tools, and tricks. Yeah.
Say that 10 times, and then
I need to change the name.
Sally sells seashells
group.
on the seashore. Yeah,
We'll call it the fence group. Hey, this one looks like it's right up in my wheelhouse, man. I geek out on some fence numbers, right? Efficiency ratings and all those type of things. Guys asked the question, how are you guys accurately tracking and figuring out your job costs? Is it paper? Is it Excel sheets? QuickBooks? Looking to try something new this year. We'll have someone in the office 1 day a week. Want to try that? Well, 1 day a week is gonna be tough to track all that, but it depends on your volume. Maybe you're only doing a couple fences a week. Maybe it won't be that bad. Pro Fence tips, tools, and tricks. Thank you, Billy Grove, for that one. Here's what we use Excel and we use QuickBooks. So all of the data goes in QuickBooks as far as the revenue of the project and all the man hours and exact costs of labor and our retirements are in the QuickBooks. So we can pull out a profit and loss report for the job, but we also track an efficiency rating outside of QuickBooks in Excel. We're looking at things like sections per man hour, the efficiency rating of the crew, the efficiency rating of the sales team member, like how accurately did they sell the job price wise? Did they sell it for enough or not enough? And give them a grade and then give our team a grade. So we use Excel and QuickBooks.
Wow. Wait, so you guys are tracking things? That's
We look like NAFs over here. I think we do less building fence, and there's more like we spend more time looking at numbers.
Talk
If
about
we would just put in more fence, it wouldn't even matter.
overachievers.
Numbers.
Some
Yeah,
overachievers, man. Jesus. You don't get an award for tracking stuff,
So we actually talked about today. I had a meeting today about increasing what we're tracking even more, like taking the budget. You ever see the big budget that we have?
Yeah.
We're going to change that into what's called the fence matrix. And now we're going to track everything from lead to appointment ratio, capture ratios, sections per man hour, revenue per man hour, equate into the average size job, production per day. So now you can start tweaking all these different pieces of your business. It's not about just driving revenue or driving net profit, but are you maximizing your resources and don't have too many installers or not enough installers or too many sales or too many leads and not enough leads, too low of jobs where the dollar value is too low that even if they knock it out of the park, you only do a $35 job that day. Your other jobs are too big and you don't have the capacity to come down. So all of these things we're going to start adding into the budget. So now you're not tracking just the dollars. There's a whole lot of knobs to be turned in to make your fence business profitable.
That's
Hey.
interesting. And you do a lot of consulting. So do you think, the tracking, I mean, I love obviously we all love the numbers of knowing, what something costs, but do you think the tracking is more beneficial because you're just trying to get, it helps you get the price down as low as you can and still be competitive? Or is it just to help you be more efficient? What do you think?
I think a lot of it gives you confidence in the pricing. So when you go to war with the price, you're not like, oh, I better sharpen my pencil, lower my price and go work for free. When you give a price and you know your numbers and you're confident, this is what it takes for Sean King to build your fence. Right, wrong, Sasha might beat me, Mr. Router might beat me, I don't know, but this is what it takes for me to build your fence. Yeah. And when you get pushback from the consumer, oh, so-and-so is cheaper, we start sharpening our pencils, so call it, and we just start giving away profit, and then we work for free. And we do this over and over and over, and we wonder why we're stressed. We can't grow. We have no cash flow. It all sucks is because we didn't know what to price to begin with. We were literally guessing. So imagine driving to Las Vegas from Indiana, and I have a roadmap. I know I have Google Maps. Tells me how to get there. Can I get to Las Vegas without Google Maps? Yeah, but I may end up in New York first in Florida before some guy points me to go that way, right? So I think it's not about getting the price as low as possible, but being confident with what you're doing so you have less stress and perform better. Maybe that makes
sense.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
One quick question. Do you go over that stuff anywhere? Do you go over it in your academies and all that?
Yeah, all of this is what we teach and preach in the academy. The academy is what this is. People think the academy is like fence installation. That's almost like a side gig, if anything. We focus on this part of the puzzle because you can build a great fence and you can do it super fast and go broke even faster.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the academy, we have our own Excel sheet for job analysis, one for sales pipeline, one for fence matrix. Like all that stuff is built in there to help navigate all of this. So you're not on your own trying to figure out what do I track and how do I track it and how do I know it's actually accurate?
Yeah. So if you want to learn how to go straight to Las Vegas from Indiana, Sean is your man. If you want to stop by and maybe see Niagara Falls, go to New York or something like that, give me a call.
Brian's your man.
I'll teach you how to have fun on the way too. Hey, I know this question. This Brian T. Frederickson posted this one.
Oh, you can't answer the question.
I can't.
This is going to be a Sasha and Mr. Router question because I've already answered this question too. So take it away.
You want to do it, Sean, or you want go for it?
You go ahead, buddy. You go first.
Both of you.
All right. So the question is: you have one day to spend $100K on your business. What do you spend it on?
One day.
I'd say an F-150 Raptor. Maybe that's gone that fast. No, that's a really good question. I know, Sean. You want to answer that? You're smarter than me.
Me?
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be, obviously we have to buy all of our, we have to buy all of our materials. So, I would buy material and I'd buy a badass guy who can weld and put together a machine as fast as possible. So I would buy a ton of steel and aluminum, and then I'd spend the money to hire a really good employee who can weld it together and put it together for me, and then I'll go sell them. So that's what I'd do.
And I think for me, being a product sort of based company, we definitely look at maybe product development, like finding a product that's maybe a little unique, because people don't realize how much money goes into product development to just launch a new product or a product that's new to our company. But I'd also have a look at our marketing, strategy as well. I think that the two big things for me would be the marketing side and, product development.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's like, is this $100,000 a free money? I don't have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Because if someone's giving me $100,000 to spend free money, I'm not going to spend it on inventory. Right.
Yeah, exactly. If it's free money, it's a different story. But
so you might take a bigger risk. What would you spend it on if you knew that you had to pay it back and you got to try something that you would not normally use your hard-earned money for to try? Yeah. Take a risk on something, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to advance our business And we see these opportunities that they can be very risky, but they can also be very lucrative to try something, innovate something, product development, right? And try something new. If I knew that I didn't have to pay it back, I would definitely be spending this money on education or innovation. One of those two. To take a chance that maybe they'll walk away and turn this $100,000 into $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I had to pay it back, it's a cash flow thing. Where's my cash pinch at, right? It could be funding some equipment to further my production. If that's where a pinch point is. And
Buying a router.
Buying a router. Then do 8-inch posts. Now that I know that. Or it could be a piece of equipment. I had a conversation with a guy today about focusing your time and effort on the constraint in your business. So we oftentimes look at all the problems. It could be, my guys don't build fast enough. I need better welders. I need more sales, whatever it is. But if you really look at it and say, which one is the biggest constraint, and put all of your energy in that one constraint, smash it. And then you step back, where's my next? Boom, laser focus. That $100,000 can help you laser focus on wherever the constraint is. I think we get really distracted. We focus on 5 problems, and we solve 5 problems half-ass.
Yep.
If we went after one problem and smash it, that's no longer a problem. It's in the back 40. Who's next, right? So
yeah, I think I would just I would build the biggest women of FWA booth at the next fence show.
Yep.
You know, and then take them all out shopping. I don't know.
Oh, what a man.
I love it.
No, I agree with you though, Sean. If it was $100,000 and I just had to spend it on something and it wasn't a loan, you have to pay it back, you had no real accountability for it, then and it wasn't needed for something, drastically, I would take a risk. I would probably take, I'm always trying to start. What's that? I'd try
That's
to
my
get
wife running. That's one toe wonder over there running back and forth.
I would take one of the crazy ideas that I've got going at any given moment, and I would spend $100,000 on marketing just to get it off the ground. Yeah. That's it. You know what I mean? I would buy AdWords and marketing from here to the East Coast all the way to Europe, and just go for it and see what happened.
I love it.
Yeah, great question though.
That was good. Good job.
I'm not saying that just because I asked it. But that was, again, everybody, that was on Fence Industry Only Group on Facebook. So we do want to kind of get into distributorship stuff. Sasha, how's it been going on you, man? I mean, you're a manufacturer. You used to work for a distributor. In case anybody, why don't you recap in case anybody that's just watching this for the first time didn't get to watch part 2, recap a little bit about yourself and about the industry.
Yeah, so originally I come from the install side, fell into fencing in Australia on the install, and then when we moved to the States, I did that for I think around 7 years, and then when we moved to the States, I fell into the supply side, and I worked for probably the second or third largest supplier in the country, and then as the industry as it all happened, and I ended up joining forces with another Aussie, and we ended up going off on our own into a direct sale model under line fencing and steel supply. And I feel like I don't really understand a soapbox, right? I'm not that from the 1920s, whenever soapbox were developed, but I feel like these podcasts are a bit of my soapbox to keep beating this one message out.
Yeah.
And it's not as pretty as everyone says it is, and everyone's got their own opinion, but I've been in the supply side for a massive corporation, so I know the inside workings, and I feel the message is getting a little bit watered down or misinterpreted. So I feel like the truth needs to come out. And from my perspective, if we really care about the industry, it's about servicing everyone. And I think, we're talking about it, but I want to ask you this question, Brian. I think, this is going off from that episode with the 3 of us on there, I feel somewhere maybe got a little bit misinterpreted by the fact that we're talking about blanketing pricing for everyone. And no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, because I feel like that episode we were talking about the missing justices that fencing people are getting. And I feel like it's true. The reason, and I'll be honest, I'll get on my soapbox. I didn't leave big corporate America because it was doing what was right to fence installers. And don't get me wrong, not everybody's doing it. It's not a beat up moment. It's an education moment, but it's facts. So we got pushed to the side, and we're like, hey, I'm an ex-fence installing guy, love fencing. The owner is as well. Like, we just want to service the industry, and it's not about, hey, I'm going to give everyone the same price, right? It's about servicing everyone to the grade they're all at. It's like, if I'm the little guy, why can't I buy fence? And I think the real eye opener for me was I felt like we weren't servicing fence people at all. Like, we were putting people in categories, and I don't feel that's our industry. I don't feel that's, how do I be part of a community and service it? If I'm telling people, hey, you just started your business in America, which feels like the greatest country on earth to start something, but I'm not going to service you. You've got to go to, again, don't misinterpret what I'm saying out there.
Yeah.
You're sending them to Home Depots and Lowe's, and Home Depot and Lowe's have its place. We all buy things, not knocking that. But if you're a fencing person, why aren't you buying from distribution people in fencing?
Yeah.
You should be coming to Sasha and Lion and getting a great service and fair pricing. Now, if you're Sean King and you've got a small company, and Sean, what are we calling Sean? Router Sean.
Mr. Router.
Right? Yeah, they're going to get different pricing, but the service is going to be the same. But Sean King's, yes, he's going to get fair pricing. And I feel like that's where we left off. That I feel that there's maybe a misinterpretation that is a blanket price for everyone.
Yeah.
That's not reality.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be a case where everybody gets the same price, and it probably shouldn't be. I mean, if you should outgrow the price level you're at
there should be a volume price difference.
Yeah,
right? But that's it.
Yeah.
But not because, well, I'm gonna make him a better player in the market than you. No.
Yep.
I mean, if I buy the same volume, I get the same price as the guy that bought that volume.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Hey, let's bring Jim on, by the way, even though I know we're not really on that, but I know Jim's in the background and I don't want to lose him. Jim from Lochinocks, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing spectacular. Hope you guys are.
So Jim's from Lochinocks, USA side. So obviously you're in the USA, so we're going to circle back to you, but I want to bring you on because I know you were in the green room there, and I don't want to leave you in there too long. I know we've got drinks and stuff for you guys back there.
I was dozing off on the East Coast too.
I know. But Sasha, and maybe you can chime in if you want, because I mean, you also have experience on the manufacturer side of it and stuff as well, and we'll get into some of your background. But Sasha, so to kind of go back to what you were talking about, I agree. It can never be level pricing out there across the board for everybody, because I mean, you got guys who are going to buy a truckload, and you got guys that are just buying, per job. So I mean, the difference between selling a job where you're ordering 10 tension bands and 2 tension bars and a roll of wire 50 feet and stuff like that. But I think
what happens, Brian? What happens if you become Sean, Mr. Router Sean, and Mr. King Sean is trying to build his business? And Mr. Router Sean has gotten so big that he circumnavigates Lion and goes direct. Can I hate him for that? So I feel like suppliers need to understand, and I'm a supplier, so I'm talking from, mate, I only make money by selling fence, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a bigger company that grows and goes direct, how can I be mad at that, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it is. People,
Yeah.
as they grow, they get better buying power, or they're in that position. But we should embrace that and be happy for companies that get to that point, and we keep focusing. It's like this circle, and I feel like we've cut the circle off and gone, oh no, that's not right. Well, that's life.
Well,
and if
everybody
somebody's
should
at
Right.
everybody should outgrow where you're at. Yeah, and you should have the opportunity to outgrow where you're at.
Yes.
You could start off with, working out of the back of your truck with a wheelbarrow and buying from Home Depot, and then maybe you start buying from a local fence company that actually sells materials, and then you start buying from a distributor, and then you get to the point where you're buying truckloads. But we need to encourage, and so you can't ever be mad when you necessarily lose a customer. You can be mad if you lose a customer to your competitor. But I don't think you can be upset when you lose a customer to, them moving up and start buying by the truckload and buying directly from manufacturers, because that's the goal. Because that person's going to have children and uncles or nephews that he's going to teach those guys how to build fence, and he's not going to want to work for his dad, and he's going to go start his own fence company, and he's going to have to start off just like you did. So I think the problem and the injustice that we were mentioning and we were talking about is not that it's not that they're getting a different price that's that much higher. Is we had situations going on in this country anyway. It doesn't happen in a lot of countries where we go through all this effort, and even some of the manufacturers to get their products spec'd out with architects and engineers, and then it gets on a set of blueprints. Now this general contractor that's actually bidding this project out calls up and says, I want this manufacturer's product being used. So then you call that manufacturer.
Yep.
You call that manufacturer and they say, we can't sell to you. You got to call XYZ. You call XYZ, and now you're paying, we'll say you want to call it iron. We'll say iron happens to be it. And you're going to call, and now your price on these panels is $300-$400 a panel, but yet your competitor in your area is paying $150 a panel, $200 a panel. So the price difference it's not because of the quantity you're buying, it's because of the access to the materials, the access to the actual being able to bid them competitively, because maybe that manufacturer has a deal with one guy in that town or two guys in that town, and that happens to be your competitor, one of the installers. So now you as a manufacturer or as an installer don't even have a chance of getting the job, or you have to bid it to the point where you're making almost nothing and you're not even marketing the materials up. So that's the injustice that's been happening, over for decades in our industry. And I think that's what we've been trying to fix. And I think it's getting fixed a little bit, but unfortunately what's taking, what's causing what we're doing to fix it is we're bringing in the European markets and the Asian markets, and there's new, more direct sale models happening. And it's unfortunate that is what it's taken to fix it, because we already had this massive network of distributors, with the distribution channels and everything set up to do it. But I think what we were talking about, the injustice, that's definitely what we're not pricing. It has nothing really to do with pricing. It has access and service to the fence company.
Right.
Fence companies were treated like dogs. I mean, literally, if you called up back, maybe it's changing a little bit now and I see it, but if you were a fence company and you called up even some of your larger distributors at some point, I'm not saying it's the same now, and I'm not saying it happens to everybody in different areas, different whatever it happens to be. But if you called up and said you were a box store, or you were a general contractor, or you're a government agency, no problem. Let me sign you up at Field. This is what it feels like to the industry. Let me sign you up. Let me get you the best tier level pricing I can, because we want that. We want to get your government contract. We want to get your box store. We want to sell to Lowe's. We want to sell to Home Depot. And then if a fence company calls up, you're like, hey, I'm Las Vegas Fence. Well, hold on a second. We need to make sure you have this license in that area and fill out this application, and then we'll get back to you if we can set up an account. And then, by the way, we're going to put you on the shittiest tier level we have.
Yeah, and you know what pisses me off? Like, it's not about price. What pisses me off is it's like, why do I need to give you a credit up when you're COD?
Right. Yeah.
I have a hard time with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just want the product.
I'll pay you.
Yeah, I'm going to pay you. And I'm like, oh, no, sorry, you need to fill in this. Like, the guy wants to give you money. Come over the line, we'll give you.
And
it's like,
you know what? If you're selling to box stores, how come we can look at how come we can look at a Lowe's or a Home Depot and we can look at that as a massive customer, but we can't look at the fence industry as a massive customer? And if I'm going to start a company myself, which I sell materials, for decades I've sold materials, and my core customers have always been fence companies, and those are the ones I treat the best to. And how, why wouldn't I treat the fence industry as a big customer? And why wouldn't the fence companies get the best tier level right off the bat? And everybody else trying to get in the industry should be the worst. But if you can go to Lowe's or you can go to Home Depot and buy wire cheaper from them than you can get delivered to you from the same fence distributors, and that's the problem. That's the injustice I was talking about. So not that everybody should get the same price, but come on, there should be a difference enough to where you could still competitively bid it and still have a chance at getting the job. a chance at growing your company, because whether it costs the same for us to set our companies up for a big one or a small one. So it's you should have the opportunity to grow your business. So I guess, yeah, I'm glad we I'm glad we went and kind of recap some of that. If that's the question you were getting at, definitely not everybody should get the same price, but it shouldn't be so dramatic and so drastic that these small companies don't even have a chance of bidding on a job if it gets spec'd out by an architect.
Well, if
Period.
I'm asking a fencing person off the bat trying to buy product from me as supplier, where's your credit at? And all they want to do is buy 2 fence posts, right? Who cares what it is? And they just want to pay me there and then. Why can't I just service them, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I feel like it's changing. I agree with you, Brian, to a point, but that's really what's been happening, and there's plenty of evidence of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm passionate about. And I feel like no one's talking about price. We're talking about just service the industry.
Yeah.
What's fair is fair, and what's not is not.
Well, Sash, we stopped a decade or two ago judging companies based off of their products and their services, and we started judging them based off of who they sell their products to.
Yeah.
And that was the downfall, and it was short-term gains for people that controlled the industry, but long-term, it's what's going to actually cripple our industry, and it's going to bring in all of the people to the industry that they didn't want there in the first place. So it's ironic. Jim, hate to put you under the fire right here. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I tell you, to some extent, my history goes back as a manufacturer to the ag fence world. Number of years back, some of you may know that, and we were kind of victims of our own success, and victims of that mentality of I want to sell to everybody, but at the same time I can't. It's really difficult to do that. I had a guy with a pickup truck. They're great. They're wonderful, but don't come to me and tell me I'm going to sell more than anybody else out there and expect me to believe you without any evidence to support that. So I'm not going to give you my best pricing. You've not sold one thing for me. Show me you can do it, and then we'll talk. I had set up 3 customers. Well, I set up 2 customers today and had to have a conversation with one. I had a fantastic year this year, and we're moving them to a better tier. Great. Had another guy, and I think just being really upfront and transparent about this, they understand. It's a brand new customer. I asked them, hey, what do you expect you're going to do this year? And they were pretty straight up and honest with me. And I said, okay, great. We're going to give you the best we can, but I'm not going to give you the best of a guy who's buying $500,000 worth of product from me a year. So just being transparent is huge. But yeah, it's a problem throughout the industry. It takes a lot of juggling, a lot of tightrope walking to make sure we're doing right by ourselves and doing right by those who are trying to buy from us. Yeah.
And I think that it's evolving. I think this even the last few years and so on. So I think it's opening up. And as much as I say that about what's going on with the industry, about people not being able to purchase, I see it changing. I see our distributors, and I see our manufacturers. I see it's getting less and less political about who you're selling to, and more people are saying, hey, here's the deal. Bottom line is, whether you're a manufacturer, a distributor, or an installer, or whatever you are, we're all in the business of selling fence or hardware or gates or whatever it is. And we're going to sell. And people are starting to just say it's happening. There's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to, and I think in the end, we're going to have a stronger industry. And I like seeing the direction it's going in right now. So it's been a lot of fun. And I know, Sasha, you've been a huge part of it. Jim, our relationship goes back, but not as far as mine with Sasha and them. So super excited about that. But I do want to get over to these motorized pedestrian gates. And
let's talk gates.
That's the main reason I brought
the gates out. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Automated pedestrian gates. Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
The gates out. Look, I don't even know if that's such a thing. Is it allowed to have automated pedestrian gates? Talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, by the way, you're going to be able to get these things at fencematerials.com that we're going to be talking about here shortly after this. So reach out to on that. But this, explain to us this Venus. This thing is just hitting the market hard. I mean, it's I've learned a bunch about this, and I'm super excited. Tell us about this, and specifically the low energy aspect of it.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, so I'm with Lochinok. People may know us as we're a Belgian manufacturer of really high-end, heavy-duty gate closers, mostly hydraulic gate closers. This is our first foray into automated gates. So, and I think we've we took our time and we kind of started this with fits and starts. We showed this at Fence Tech this past year, and then had a lot of excitement, and then told everybody, nope, you can't get it yet. So we were waiting on UL certification.
You were one of those guys, huh?
Yeah, so I kind of took the wind out of everybody's sails. And so around July, we got all of our certifications were taken care of and ready to go. But yeah, so the low energy brushless DC motor on our Venus, which is what this is called, is really kind of the beating heart of this product. It allows this to really, you don't have to have any external safety devices in order for this to be a safely operated device. If it encounters an obstruction opening or closing, it just reverses itself. And you can set that when you install it. The installation of this product is really, really unique. It's done on an app. And when you open the app, it just probably can't see it here, but it just walks you through every aspect of it. You get the device attached to the gate with the correct arm. And your correct arm comes with it. You just decide whether you want an articulated arm, a straight arm, or what have you. Same price depending on whichever arm you want, and that's depending on if you have an offset gate, you want to open 90 degrees, 180 degrees, so on.
Do we have any pictures of this? I'm trying to visualize.
You just had one up there just a second ago, Brian.
No, on a gate.
We'll go and Susan will pop one up in a minute of showing it on a gate, the Venus one. So really all you get it on the gate, you get 110 volts to it. You also have 3 24 volt outputs off of it if you need to control something else, be it an electric strike, a mag lock, a light, anything else you want to do on that gate. You can get power off the device without having to have any external power supply. You also have 3 programmable inputs. So if you want to program this, again, this is new to me, but these gate automation guys, they understand this. If you want to work it on a keypad, a proximity sensor, a card reader, a touchpad, anything like that, you can program it to do that. But once you get it, you open the app, it communicates by Wi-Fi with the Venus. It asks you a series of questions. How wide is the gate? It can handle a gate up to 4.5 feet wide, up to 220 pounds. So pretty heavy duty pedestrian gates. And it just walks you through every aspect of what you want it to do. How fast do you want it to open? How long do you want it to stay open? What amount of force do you want it to open with in case you're dealing with wind loads or whatever the case may be?
Why can't we make all gate operators control with an app like this? This sounds like a dream.
Well, and the low energy. I mean, I guess let's get back into that for a second, because I think that's what makes this thing possible when you don't have all the extra photo eyes and things like that. So this is pretty slick. I mean, it's pretty small. Look at that. It just mounts on the side of the post and then attaches to the.
If anybody's familiar with our Verticlose, which is probably our second biggest retrofit gate closer, it's roughly the same footprint as the Verticlose. It's about 16 inches tall, about 3.5 inches wide, weighs about 18 pounds total. And I mean, I've got one right here, so you can see. Not that big.
What makes it possible? So you notice you don't see a bunch of photo eyes. You don't see a bunch of safety stuff on this thing other than just that unit. Is there something else that's added? Is there a loop in the ground, that weighted loop that people are standing on? What's going on? I mean, how's this thing how are we allowed to do this? You know what I mean? We've been taught that you have to have all these other devices, right?
Yeah, because the motor, the brushless motor, and all the electronics inside of it. And again, I'm a sales guy. I don't understand all this stuff. But when it encounters any kind of obstruction, and again, when you're setting up in the app, you can program it as to how much force you want it to encounter before it reverses, and that becomes the key safety aspect of the Venus. And so once you're done with all this, it does a few cycles just to ask, hey, are you happy with what this is doing? And when you say yes, you slide the cover back on it. It becomes a secure device at that point. Nobody can tamper with the Wi-Fi. Nobody can reprogram it, and you walk away and it's done.
So it'll correct itself and find its close spot, even if it's closing and you push it, because obviously people get impatient. You get delivery guys, you get something like that. They're gonna this thing could be going to close. They're gonna force it the other direction. What happens when you do that?
Absolutely nothing. It just goes by. It'll go to the open position. If it encounters that obstruction or reversed either direction 3 times, it will just open. It will take itself to the full open or full closed position, and then at that point, if it stays in the full open position, you just tap the gate. It'll go and close when you're ready for it to.
Oh my God!
And then
in case of a
crazy.
power outage, it just freewheels. You don't have to worry about being locked in or locked out.
yeah.
What
So
about- yeah.
Michael Brooks says, what happens?
What was that again?
I missed that one. I think
Is
that
there
one-
an
What
emergency
happens if
manual
somebody
exit?
wants to
Yeah.
manually exit? So,
yeah, what happens?
So by manually exit, I'm assuming you mean you're going to turn the knob and push the gate. As soon as the device detects the motion of you pushing, we call it push and go. As soon as it detects that, it takes over and opens up the gate. So you can
Unless
kick
there's
it.
a,
You can
you said
push it.
there's a mag lock though. If there's a mag lock, that's not going to happen.
Correct. But now once you can program this with those inputs so that, let's say you disengage the mag lock from a keypad or a button. Okay. Or just like your handicap button or whatever that's on there. As soon as you do that and that mag lock releases, the gate, the opener takes over and opens the gate.
Nice. You did say if there's a power failure, it'll actually fall safe open. Is that what you said?
It'll just fail safe to just freewheel. You can do with it whatever you want. Yes.
So then Michael's asking a question. How does this work with pools? Is this something that can be used with pools? You got a lot of code compliant things or some liability issues with pools.
As far as pools go, and honestly, I don't like to talk about pools a lot because the everything changes from municipality to municipality. However, what we are seeing in Europe, which is where they've been able to sell this all year in Europe, but with their CE certification, we've only been able to sell it for a few months here in the United States. But if you have a controlled access pool, like in a club or something, that would be a perfect application for this.
Okay.
So Jim, can you ever switch this motor into manual mode either through the app or on the machine? Is there somewhere, like let's say, I don't know, you got no cell, who knows? But can this machine ever get turned manually from anywhere else outside of the app?
I'm sorry, I don't know that I'm
Can
following.
it mechanically be turned into a manual gate, or like shut off the unit basically, and the gate works free without the app?
You can just disengage the power if you like. That's more of a permanent thing. But if you are in a hurry and you want to open it faster than it is programmed to do, you just push it. You're not going to hurt. You're not going to damage the motor. It'll just go as fast as you want to push it. And then once it's in that full open position, that time passes that you programmed it, it'll close back up.
So what's an ideal scenario for this? I would assume any ADA gate, anywhere where you got ADA gates, a lot of commercial properties, things like this, pools. It depends on where you're at. You want to check with your local building departments if there's something specific. In our case, the health department handles all the pool stuff.
Yeah.
And is there actually, Michael, just the same question. So is there a fail secure mode if you wanted this, if power goes to have it lock closed? Can you rig it so the mag lock stays activated?
You would you'd have to have a mag lock, but of course with a mag lock, if you have a power outage, the mag lock's not going to do you any good. You could have an electric strike that would be a fail close option there if you needed the gate to stay locked in the case of a power outage or some other scenario. You could do it that way.
Because the thing's not designed to actually, it needs some sort of latch system. So it's not designed to work without a latch system.
It does need a latch, a positive stop, because the unit you're saying won't really hold it perfectly in line. Not very well.
Correct. I mean, it will, because when you set it up, it tells you to open it to the full open position, close it to the full close position. So the unit knows where full open and full close is. However, having a lock is going to keep it where you want it.
Yeah,
and this would work on.
I'm sorry.
Would this work on a 4.5 foot wide, 6 foot tall privacy gate? Got some wind load involved in that. Any issues with that?
No. Again, because if you have a lock on it of some sort, it's going to stay closed.
Oh no! I meant like during the open and close process, high wind.
And that's where you would, when you're programming it, you can adjust the amount of force that it closes and opens with to account for wind load.
What do you think the average install time is on these that you've seen? Have you heard any numbers back on that? You go out there, power's already stubbed up, excluding running power, obviously, because you don't know how long that's going to take. What do you think the average install time for a fence company or somebody that's doing this to install the actual unit itself?
So I built and I think some of you have seen the video that I put in, that I built a tabletop demo of one of these. And again, I'm just a sales guy. I'm not a fence installer. And I actually from zero, from putting the drilling template on there and starting from there. I had it installed in about 20 minutes, wired up and ready to go.
Wow.
And that includes
awesome.
opening the app, that all, and I'm sure you could do it even faster with some practice.
That's fast enough.
I don't know about you, Sean. I see some upsells here, huh? I see some
So the
upsells.
other question is it work on solar? Because running power can be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can put a solar panel off of this thing for that low power usage, now we're getting somewhere.
Well, you still got to have 110 to it. That's the only thing. You
or
do have
maybe-
to have AC to it.
Well,
Even though
maybe
it's a
you
DC
could get
motor.
inverters. You could probably get inverters. You could set up some batteries and an inverter and run this thing.
That makes it probably. I'm trying to make it easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna limit,
Brian's going Amish.
yeah, you're going to limit your usability. I mean, it is good for continuous cycles, so it can just run and run and run and run and run. Obviously, if you're charging batteries and converting that to 110 from 12 or 24,
Yeah, that makes
you're going
sense,
to
yeah.
limit. You're not going to get a whole lot of cycles out of it before you deplete that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's great though if you're out on a project and anything that's got ADA stuff and that's getting more and more prominent on these projects where even the general contractors and everybody else is asking us, hey, what do I do now? We got something else to offer, and why not throw it out there? I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we're getting asked all the time. We do stuff with panic hardwares, and maybe you can put an electric panic bar on it to where this can work, with an electric panic bar as well. So I'd be interested. to see
Another neat thing about the electronics in this is that it can be, as we update it, just like an electric vehicle. As we make this better, we can make it better through software upgrades. And so when you log on to your app, when you install the product from new, it puts the latest firmware into it right away. If you go out for a service call and there's firmware that's happened between now and then and now, it will upload that. When I was in Belgium back in March, big question we had for them was, can you put this on the inside, on the non-street side of the gate so it can't be tampered with? And they said, we haven't really thought about that because in Europe, we don't tamper with stuff like that we do in America. And so the very next day, they had an option for that with the articulating arm. Now you can only go 90 degrees when you put it on the inside, but they were able to do that programming upgrade just like that. And it was ready to go and no issues. So yeah, that's the beauty of this, is that we can make this a better product without touching it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Sean, Mr. Finch, Sean, hey, do you call it a closer or a closure? Right? Do you ever
Closure. Let's see. I would say
how would you,
closure.
Closure? Yeah.
I'm originally from the West Coast. I've just been living in the Midwest with that accent.
Yeah. Closure. So I've always called it CLOSURE, I guess, right? Closure. And then,
Closure.
but the more I always spell it wrong, and it's closer.
It's an operator.
It is, yeah.
There you go. Because it's also an opener.
Different from us, because everything we've ever done have been hydraulic closers. Now we have something that opens a gate.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I mean, you guys are famous for. I mean, if there's one product you're famous for in the U.S., it's the Mammoth hinge, right?
Mammoth. Yeah.
I mean, those are everywhere, especially on the
That's
West
the
Coast.
closure.
Yeah. So hey, Jim, thanks for coming on, man. Sean and Mr. Fence and Mr. Router, Sasha, you guys taking this time away from your evenings and your family. I appreciate you guys coming on, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the.
Hold on.
What did we do wrong?
I want to talk about our next episode next week.
What's going on?
We would love to hear about that.
We're going to have a Christmas party, but I am going to release the StreamYard link in like 2 days. And anybody who wants to come on and just talk to you, you have 4 to 5 minutes to come on and ask John and Brian anything you want.
Did you just make this shit up?
Do I get to come
I
back?
have a plan. We're going to have fun.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And
all right,
you just copy the link, you put it into an internet browser, and like I will have access to your face. I will pop you up on screen, and you can ask Sean and Brian anything you want.
Can we do
I
that?
bet this is what's gonna happen. She's gonna forget. She's gonna send me and Brian a bad link.
Yep.
Everyone else is gonna be in the show but us.
We're gonna be over in a different studio, just waiting. It's gonna be like 15 minutes.
We're gonna be like Sasha at Vince show.
It's gonna be
What's going on?
So,
That's a
Sean,
crazy
like,
idea.
if you have anything you want to ask them, here's your opportunity to come on and just give them the hardest time on planet Earth.
Oh,
Woo.
that sounds like a good time.
No script, so you're not going to send us a script or
Nope,
nothing?
there won't be an outline. We'll still do what would Brian and Sean say, but whoever's waiting in the background, I'll pop them up and see if they got something to say about it.
You know what?
Oh,
That
wow.
means no red typing.
You're going to have to change it to what would the fence industry say, because it's going to be pretty damn
We'll do
interesting.
it.
There's a
We're
lot of
gonna-
people
we're
out
gonna
there
be
that
in the
would love
green
to see
room.
this stuff. Yeah, that'll be
Give them
fun.
the-
I don't know. That's
I
a great
think so.
idea. Are you sure we didn't have something else planned for next week?
No.
We did, but not now.
I guess
Nope.
not now. Susan, I guess
Well,
she's running.
I don't have to wait to find out on social media because I said it tonight. I beat you.
Okay, I guess.
Boom.
All right, Christmas party next week. Everybody's
Love
invited. This is, I mean, typical FWA style.
Fences
It's
for
for
the
the
fences.
industry. Everybody's welcome. All right,
It's gonna be a party.
everybody's welcome. Come
Nice
one,
job,
come all. All right.
Way to
Join
steal the show.
FWA before you come. That would help us. Join FWA.com. Hey, all right. We will talk to everybody later. Thanks again, everybody. Jim, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Mr.
Again-
Router,
Hey, good seeing you guys.
Again, if you're interested in the Venus, fencematerials.com, you're going to be able to pick these things up here shortly. We're looking forward to it. Have a great one, everybody.
see you guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. Cheers.